You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion, delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events most of all. Thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guests. David Cordero, Chip Ahlswede? Ahlswede. I'll get it right. By the end of the show or the fourth time I introduce you, I might get it right.
That's all right.
I'm a little slow.
I go by Chip.
By Chip. So. They're from the Apartment Association of Orange County. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey, good to be with you.
Glad to have you with us. Let me remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or a plan to save you money, I personally work with you even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Generally, having beaten anorexia, I do celebrate with food. Actually, I don't know if it's because I've beaten anorexia or because I'm Jewish. Don't go there. Here's the issue. Every Jewish holiday begins with Baruch and ends with food. And you know something? I subscribe to that. So, you know, that's just the way the world is. Let's take a look. Today's National Tamale Day. Now, I don't know. You know, I'm not a big tamale person, but isn't that like a Christmas item? Half the places I see that really promote tamales, it's right around Christmas time. So, I don't know, but well, we'll go there. Let's see what else we've got. National Melba Toast Day. I don't know about Melba toast. Can you give me a good piece of bread, a sourdough, or a nice rye? Melba toast? Chip and Dip Day. Isn't that right around the Super Bowl? But hell, we take chips and dips any day. And yes, it is National Puppy Day. I've got one of those too, so we enjoy the puppy. What are the markets doing? Let's take a look after that ugly day yesterday. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 388 points. It just fell off of my screen there. The S&P 500 is up 57. The NASDAQ, it's up 245 points. Oil up 18 cents a barrel. The 10-year Treasury is up as well at 3.46. Despite that idiot in Washington yesterday who has no clue what the heck he's doing, Jerome Powell came out there. Did you notice what happened to the market as soon as he started to speak? Yeah, I think I used to have a sound effect for Jerome Powell on here. I think there it is. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing what happened to the stock market right after he started. The commentary wasn't bad, but as soon as he opens his mouth, we realize he has no idea what's going on in the marketplace, right? He's worried about inflation, and inflation, if you look at the real numbers, is already down. He has no idea that what he's doing, though, is, you know, the Federal Reserve, always, their whole goal is to break the economy, right? What do? 2021, inflation is transitory. Don't worry. 2022, we missed it. The economy is going, the inflation is going crazy. 9%, 10%, nuts. So what does he do? Starts increasing interest rates every single meeting. Now, anybody with half a brain, and obviously Jerome Powell is missing half at least. So anybody with half a brain knows that it takes time for their increases, their Fed funds rate increases to filter through the economy. But what do? Let's just keep increasing. So here's the analogy. right? So if you go to the doctor, and I've got bad knees, I need both of them replaced. But I get some pain meds from the doctor. I don't take them all the time, but I go in there and I take a pain pill because my knees are really bad on a given day, or my back. Maybe it's because I'm overweight. I don't know. I digress. But you take a pain pill and it doesn't work immediately, so you take another one. And that one didn't work immediately, so you take another one. And you do that, maybe 8 or 9 times, like the Federal Reserve has done with interest rates. Well, guess what? By the time they finally start taking effect, you pass out because now you've overdosed. And that's exactly what the Federal Reserve has done. If we look at shelter costs, which is what's holding down the inflation numbers, or I shouldn't say, it's propping them up, but they're really lower because shelter costs have already come down. They're looking at 6-month-old data. That's why we know for sure, well, nothing's for sure, but most likely May 10th, inflation will start dropping because we know that that's when the old numbers start falling off. And Jerome Powell should be able to see this, but he's too foolish to understand that that's what's going on.
Such an idiot.
Unbelievable. I'll get off my soapbox on that one now. Let's go on to the next soapbox that I'm going to get on. So already 3 times this week, you've heard me talk and you've heard people maybe on the studio and show ask about this new Cal HFA down payment assistance program that they're going to release on March 28th. Another one. Geniuses. So do you remember the pick a pay loan back in 2008? Probably what caused the mortgage meltdown because people weren't paying what they should. Everybody's not qualified at a given time to buy a house. So what does the government do? They get involved in these things, and they're coming out with this new program on, I think it's Tuesday of next week. They're gonna unveil it. It's the Cal HFA Equity Share Program. Equity Share Program. What does that mean? So anytime you see Cal HFA, you have to think higher than market interest rates. That's part of the program. There's no free lunch. That's fine. Because there's a difference between the Cal HFA program and this bogus thing that they're going to put out next week. The new one says that they're going to the state will front 20% down payment. What do they want in return? Because there's no free lunch. Does the state ever do anything to benefit the people? Probably not. So here's the issue. When you go to sell or refinance that, you have to pay back the 20%, okay, plus 20% of the appreciation goes back to the state or to the Cal HFA program. So you say, why is that bad, Ron? Well, we're going into a recession. The Federal Reserve is bound and determined to put us there. What happens in a recession historically? Like every time since 1960. Interest rates drop. But you can't refinance this loan that's already over market. Why? Because you have to pay back the 20%. And is there a program out there to let you do a 100% cash out refi? No. So think about this whole concept. It's going to put you behind the 8 ball. It's going to lock you into an interest rate that's higher than market value. Now, if you watched our program, Josh, I don't remember when we did it, on why the banking crisis is what it is. I did a whole program on it. If you want all the details on it, we actually cut it out and put a dashboard together showing why the banking crisis is happening right now. Well, the banking crisis is happening because of rapid interest rate changes. That's what's put the banks underwater. That's why SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, went under. That's why Credit Suisse went under. That's why Republic is going under. That's why First, whatever it's called, and the other ones, they're all having problems because of interest rates. Now, in this instance, interest rates went up, so people wanted to get out of their zero interest rate and put it into something higher. But on this down payment assistance program, you're going to be in an above market interest rate program that you cannot get out of. How will you get out of it? Walk. So that's going to be more defaults. Unbelievable. But the state doesn't understand this, probably because, like the Federal Reserve, they don't have anybody that understands the unintended consequences of actions. You're listening to Ron Siegel. We might even talk more about unintended consequences of actions later in the broadcast. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, why buying a home is a sound decision, not using that dumb Cal HFA program. Many young adults don't understand credit. Here's where to start. And is rent control good or bad? Who does it benefit? Nobody. We'll talk about that in just a minute. You can reach me anytime. Our offer number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit ronsiegelradio.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And if you were listening to us in the last segment, you will not be getting the down payment assistance program, the equity share from Cal HFA, because it's bad for you. Just my opinion, but I'm right. So every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. What did the loans do yesterday? Remember, no APRs here, and we don't know how many points were paid or received to get these rates. OBMMI, they just provide the locked interest rates from yesterday. And being about 35% market share, it's a pretty good barometer. Conforming 6.475, 30-year jumbo 6.609, 30-year FHA 6.365, the 30-year USDA loan, which generally has no down payment and no mortgage, no down payment, and it's a rural area. Sorry, is on that one. 6.359, and the best loan on the market for those that earned it. That would be the 30-year VA loan. 6.14. Every one of the loans yesterday, the rates were down over the previous day. Well, it all has to do with Jerome Powell. And if you missed my opening riff, sorry, but I did explain a little bit of that. We'll get into a little bit more. 10-year Treasury right now is down 1 basis point at 3.436. S&P 500 is up 56.71. Mortgage-backed securities, they're up 30 more basis points today. And that's good news because remember, when the bond goes up, rates go down. And why are they going down? Well, because of Jerome Powell. He wants to increase interest rates, but he only controls the Fed funds rate. And everybody else knows the market's going to have problems. Where do people put their money when the market has problems? They go into safety. That would be the 10-year Treasury, mortgage-backed securities. So here's a few thoughts from that statement. Job gains have picked up. Unemployment remains low. When do recessions start? When unemployment is low. Inflation remains elevated. The banking system is sound and resilient.
Nothing like a little air superiority.
Janet Yellen said that the day before Silicon Valley Bank went out. Does that make sense? Recent developments will result in tighter credit conditions and weigh on economic activity, hiring, and inflation. The committee anticipates some additional policy firming may be appropriate. And this is, here's the big lie. So they're going to continue quantitative tightening. Mr. Powell, when you go from $6 billion of purchases to $153 billion of purchases, that's called easing. That's not tightening. But he doesn't realize that. I guess maybe he didn't know what the Federal Reserve was doing. I don't understand. Or maybe he doesn't want you to know, but you listen to Ron Siegel Radio, so you get that information. Projections were largely a non-event as they did not change much for the end of 2023. GDP 0.4% from 0.5. Core PCE 3.6% from 3.5. No cuts in 2023. Anybody want to put a nice wager on that one? When the economy starts tanking enough, the Federal Reserve will cut rates this year. Again, my opinion, and I'm right. There's a lot more to this, but it just makes me ill. The new home sales measures signed contracts on new homes rose 1.1% in February to 640,000 unit annualized pace, which was stronger than estimates of a 3% decline. Missed it just a little bit. While this looks positive, there was a big negative revision to January's number, which was revised lower from 670,000 to 633,000. Still positive to see a rise in February, even though rates moved higher. Year-over-year sales are down 19%. My screen's a little dirty there. There are 436,000 new homes for sale at the end of February, and at the current pace of sales, there's an 8.2-month supply. However, only 72,000 or 16.5% are completed. So if you want a roof over your head, then there's not enough for you. If you don't want the roof over your head, then there's a lot more you can buy. Just throw that out there. Huge jump in homes sold, not started. Okay, which means they're selling tents. I guess that's what you can move into a tent or something. Initial jobless claims measures individuals filing unemployment benefits for the very first time were nearly unchanged from the previous week, 191,000. That's the Mortgage Minute brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make a call. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So you have heard me talk about this in the past. Rent control. You gotta love it when the government gets involved, because so I've shared this many times, and I'm not gonna put my guests on with this thought process that I have. We've got David and Chip here from the Apartment Association of Orange County, but I've shared with you many times. Elected officials go to do something. If it's good or bad, it doesn't matter. They just have to say, we did something, because generally somebody might benefit. Well, this dumb thing that they're doing with rent control, I'm trying to find who it is that benefits. So maybe our guest this morning can help me with that. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Ron.
Morning. So tell me a little bit before we get into the nuts and bolts. Tell me a little bit about the Apartment Association of Orange County.
All right. Well, the Apartment Association of Orange County has been in existence since 1961 as a resource for income property owners and operators here, not only in Orange County, but also into parts of Riverside County as well. If you are a landlord who has operational questions, landlord-tenant questions, we can be your source of information and guidance to work you through the situations you might be dealing with as you're working with your tenants on whatever the issue may be. We don't do legal advice. We could always refer you to attorneys who specialize in landlord-tenant law. But as far as day-to-day issues, our association is there to be a resource to those landlords who are looking for answers.
So you can probably tell me when I needed an attorney.
We could probably tell you that. Yeah, absolutely.
You need to go to an attorney right now. And be aware, I do radio every day. So, there are people that hate me. you wouldn't know. You would never know it, would you? So let's chat about this thing that's going on, because I've said that as an investor, the last place in the world that I'd want to buy real estate for investment purposes is Los Angeles County. I can't evict anybody, from what I understand. I can't raise my rents the way I want to, or if I want to do it, I got to raise them more right now, because next year I might not be able to raise them as much as I need to. Mm-hmm. Is that really am I on the right track there?
I think you're definitely on the right track. What we see is rent control oftentimes works against the very notion of what those that are implementing it are seeking to do, which is to help renters struggling through difficult financial times. Rent control almost forces maximum rent increases on an annual basis, simply for the landlord to be able to keep up with their own operational expenses and making sure that they continue to operate a property which is well maintained and certainly providing the type of quality of life that their tenants are expecting.
Do you think it's going to push people to investors to say, something, I don't want to be a landlord, and then the people who don't have housing?
Well, I'll tell you, the number of rental housing providers who are second guessing their futures in the industry increases every time there's a new proposal, whether it's rent control or some other type of legislation that is going to make things more difficult for them to operate their business. And I think there's a lot of folks that are really looking at the long-term holding of their properties and trying to decide, is this something I'm up for? Can I continue to operate this the way that I feel I should be able to, which is as a small business owner? And
that was the next question I was going to ask you, is that, when you would have a better handle on something like this, is the landlords, is it the major corporations for the most part, or is it mom and pop who have one or two rental properties or three for their future?
Well, I think when you look at rent control, it hurts everybody industry-wide. The depth of the damage that is done, however, is most often felt by those that are, the mom and pop operators of rental units. Usually, 16 units or less is kind of what is viewed as mom and pop. They're the ones who take the hardest hit because they have the smallest margin when it comes to operating their businesses. The larger property management company and institution owners, they have the ability to kind of, spread out some of the pain and the financial impact. And so, they still deal with it, but the direct hit that they take is not felt quite the same.
Now, one of the questions that I should have asked you before, because it almost sounds like if I was I guess I am an individual, but looking at the name of your organization, it seems like it's more limiting than what you just described, because it says Apartment Association. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you really deal with more than just apartments.
Absolutely. We certainly engage on a number of real estate related issues and specifically rental housing issues. Our membership is comprised of apartment owners as well as individuals who own and operate single family homes as rentals as well. So we really are a place where anyone who's involved in the rental industry can come and receive benefits and representation at the local and state levels on rent control policies and other legislation. We do serve a lot of purposes that are beneficial to folks industry wide.
So it's more encompassing than apartments.
Absolutely.
So if you're listening and you say, well, I don't own apartments, I can't get help here. No, that's not correct. You can actually give a call or reach out to the association, and they are there as a resource for more than just apartment owners. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, why buying a home is a sound decision. Many young adults don't understand credit. Here's where to start. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at ronsiegelradio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. 1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. If you're thinking about buying a house, maybe it's your first house in the next 6, 12, 18 months, start out at rsrmoney.com. Why? Because it's going to give you budgeting tools. It's going to give you tools to help you save for a down payment. It's going to give you a tool to monitor your credit score. It's not going to give you advertising. And oh, by the way, 97% of the homes in the United States, not just locally, that are available for sale are available to be seen there. And it'll also show you values of properties in the neighborhood that you might like. rsrmoney.com. Did I say it's free for you? Why buying a home is a sound decision, as long as you're not using that new Cal HFA down payment equity assist. If you're thinking about buying a home, you want to know the decision will be a good one. And for many, that means thinking about what home prices are projected to do in the coming years and how that could impact your investment. This year, we aren't seeing home prices fall dramatically. As the year goes on, however, some markets may go up in value while others may lose value. That's why it's helpful to keep the long-term view in mind. Experts project a return to a steadier rate of price appreciation in the years that follow. Home price appreciation in the years ahead, over 100 economists, investment strategists, and housing market analysts were polled by Pulseonomics in their latest quarterly home price expectation survey. This is the best on the market because every other one goes into this one, and this one has over 100. I think the last survey had 117 surveys recorded. The report indicates what they believe will happen with home prices over the next 5 years. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you're seeing a chart of what they have in mind. They believe, these economists, that real estate values will drop 1.61% in the current year. They believe that real estate values will increase 1.9% next year, 3.5% in 25, 4.25 in 26, and 4.44 in 27. That is national numbers. Generally, Southern California does better than the national numbers. The big takeaway is experts are not forecasting a drastic fall in home prices nationally, even though some markets will see home price appreciation, while others may drop a little bit. And when they look further out, they see steady price appreciation in the long run. That's a great example of why home ownership wins over time. What does this mean for you? Once you buy a home, price appreciation raises your home's value, and that grows your household worth or wealth. Here's how a typical home's value could change over the next 5 years using the expert price appreciation projections from the survey mentioned earlier. And we've got another graph. Potential growth in household wealth over the next 5 years based solely on increased home equity. If you purchase a $400,000 home in January of 2023, $54,296 on that $400,000 home. Now, I know you're in Orange County, California, some of you, right? So you have to multiply that times 2.5 because our median price is a little over $1 million. So that'd be $125,000 in net worth. Just think about that. That's based on the home price expectation survey. Bottom line, according to experts, while we may see slight depreciation this year, home prices are expected to grow over the next 5 years. If you're ready to become a homeowner, give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. There are good down payment assistance programs, not this new Cal HFA program, but there are good ones out there. So give us a call. That is the real-time real estate segment. Again, brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. We're going to continue our conversation. We have David and Chip with us from the Apartment Association of Orange County talking about government intervention or attempted government intervention and who does it benefit. So being that they do have the letters OC in their website, AAOC, that means they're probably doing some stuff in Orange County. Maybe they expand a little further, but that is still part of the formerly Golden State. So we are dealing with, we got to deal with some of these things. And we love the government to do everything for us in California. I don't know why, but we seem to like that. Not on Ron Siegel Radio. But I guess there's a lawsuit coming out, or some Orange County is now getting into this rent control. Tell me a little bit about what Orange County, cities in Orange County might have in mind.
Yeah, so this started a couple of years ago. City of Santa Ana came up with their wonderful ideas of how
City of Santa Ana. Really? That's
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
That's a good way of putting it there, private pile. Yeah, they came out a couple of years ago and they started deciding that they were going to help out the housing industry. And the solutions that they came up with, and let's start with the basic concept of economics, supply and demand.
Oh, economics 101.
Yeah, very, very basic. So they decided, let's make it more expensive to build anything new by putting in a bunch of regulations requiring increased costs to labor costs and things like that, beyond what even the labor councils wanted. And you might be surprised by this, by increasing that cost, they were able to build more houses or less houses. What do you think?
My guess is less.
You're pretty good at this.
Bingo.
And then they decided that they were going to say, let's take on the rental industry. And what we're going to do there is we're going to limit the rents there. Now, let's try that one more time. Do you think that encouraged more people to come in and be renters or build rental properties or less?
My guess is again less.
Yeah, you're good at this one. Nothing's been built since then. I mean, there's stuff being built, but that's been in plans for multiple years. Nothing's getting pulled to get built now. So they came up with these plans to try to assist the housing industry, and it's working out exactly as we would have expected and exactly as you nailed it. Nothing's getting built. Nobody wants to own in there. You talk to the brokers, their people want to sell out of Santa Ana. Very few people want to buy into it. Investors are looking at every other city, except for those who maybe have had rumblings about rent control, and they're looking away from those cities too. So the only one that's actually done it is Santa Ana. A couple other cities have had rumblings about it, but it seems like they're following what's happening in Santa Ana and saying this may not be the fit for us.
Now, I think Josh has been able to pull this slide for us, but we've talked about this before. What's happening in general in rental prices around the country? Well, we've shared this slide with you before. Josh, do we have that? If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed. Median asking rent since 1988. Now, as we start looking at all these different issues about rent control, just in general, I mean, the vast majority of the country doesn't have rent control, and look what's going on with rents. Right? I used to say when I was younger, that was way back when, that the chart looked like the bunny slope. Now, because I am old, I didn't even know this. One of our guests recently told me that what they call this black diamond, right? The chart goes straight up. That's what's happening with rents without government intervention. Do you think that government intervention is going to help anything? Does government intervention ever help anything? Just throw that out there. So if you're watching this, again, you've got the chart right there. Thanks, Josh. I'm glad I can throw these things at him really late in the middle of a broadcast, and he's still able to get it for us. But, kind of see that that's what's happened in general. And now economics 101, if you're going to diminish the supply, price is going to go up.
And that is exactly what we're seeing, especially when you cap the future growth, which is what rent control does. You can only raise the rents a certain amount. If you're a landlord, you're a property owner, you're looking to what your future is, and your costs are going through the roof, your insurance is going up, everything else is going up for you. You're going to go to the absolute limit you can because you don't know what tomorrow holds. And if you let it go now, you'll never catch up.
Yeah. So do you have data? And I don't want to put you on the spot on this because I didn't even ask you ahead. What was a normal or a rough idea without rent control? What would people normally increase their rents on a yearly basis?
That is something that would, each individual operator has to make a decision as far as what fits their model. I think a lot of times you may see 3 to 5%.
That's what I was going to guess is 3 to 5.
And back in 2020, a new law took effect in California, which basically statewide capped rent increases at no more than 10% per year. What we're looking at in Santa Ana, the city council adopted back in October of 2021, and in an amended ordinance back in October 2022, they capped the rent increase on an annual basis to no more than 3% or 80% of the change in CPI over the previous year.
Whichever is lower.
Whichever is lower.
Whichever is lower.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
So, we are looking now at a situation in Santa Ana where if rents can only increase a maximum of 3%, that's not even keeping up with the rate of inflation. You add on top of that, as Chip was talking, the added costs of insurance for rental properties, and the cost that we're all paying now because of inflation for materials, and it stops being something that is a business that can be successfully operated. And
well, I'm just a simple guy here, and I'm looking right now that I could own a piece of property that I can rent, hopefully, with a 3% increase. Or I can go into the 10-year treasury and get 3.445. Let's see. Do I really need to contemplate this for a long period of time? Yeah, no, we're not going to contemplate that very long, because if I could put money in the treasury and not have work to do, I mean, because if you're a landowner, there's work involved.
Absolutely.
Right. You're gonna have to answer those phone calls at whatever time that the toilet flooded, or there was a slab leak, or we haven't had any rain in California lately, so there could be a roof leak. Maybe you need a new roof. Right. Those are all expenses, and they're expensive.
Absolutely. And when you can't put money away because you've got such a narrow margin at that point, a lot of the preventative maintenance and repairs that landlords would often put money away for, there's less money now coming in to be able to put toward those big ticket items.
I was chatting with somebody yesterday, and they were sharing that they were looking to do some home improvements. They're going to put an ADU on their house, an additional dwelling unit. And they were really excited because their bank offered them a 9% home equity line of credit, which is adjustable and probably went up yesterday or today because of the Fed's actions. So if you don't have the money set aside for that new roof, which is anywhere on the cheapest side, I've heard $10,000, could be up $40,000, $50,000 or more, depending upon the size of the property, and you have to go out and borrow that money. Well, don't go to Silicon Valley Bank, because they're not lending anymore. But the bottom line is you're paying a lot of money for it, and then you can't even get your money back.
Yeah, and it's in the original ordinance actually allowed property owners to make those kind of repairs and then be able to bring their rates up to market. And when property owners started taking advantage of that, the city decided, no, well, we don't want to do that. We want to take that right on out. So they even took away the incentive to improve their properties.
So we get to have, because of the states helping us, we get to have inferior properties to live in.
Exactly. And actually, they made it, you'll appreciate the way they decided to handle it. Now, what they want to do is, if you're going to make the upgrades to your property and you want to be able to raise rents along with it, you go through, you pay for it, you implement the properties, then you go to the city of Santa Ana and ask them if it would be all right if you could raise your rents, and they'll let you know whether or not you can and how much.
After the fact.
Maybe you should lower your rents. They could offer that to you.
Yeah,
as well.
Because the rent control ordinance also includes provision where they establish a rent board in Santa Ana, which is going to already, by its very composition, put the rental housing provider at a disadvantage.
Just what I want is to have to go and ask somebody else after I've spent money, hey, can I raise my rent? Can I change my business model or make changes to benefit the business?
Well, not to mention who's going to lend on that. Please give me money for the possibility that the city will let me get a return on it.
Yeah, maybe you go to First Republic. No, we won't do that. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. I think, Josh, we're going to skip our Your Credit Matters segment again today, just because I talk too much. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender. Are you tired of paying rent? Are you tired of paying someone else's mortgage? Do you know qualified folks can potentially purchase a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket? Ron Siegel can help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. If you're tired of paying someone else's mortgage, reach out to Ron today at ronismylender.com. That's ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey friends, do you dream of mortgage-free home ownership? Are you aware that even if you own your home free and clear, it could still be costing you thousands per year? The Siegel Lending Team can help you generate tax-free income, accumulate family wealth, and maintain ownership of your home. By simply emailing your most recent mortgage statement, you'll receive a no-obligation real estate plan. Learn more by calling 1-800-306-1990 or email me your recent mortgage statement to PEAR@ronsiegelradio.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender. Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at ronsiegelradio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. This segment being brought to you by the folks at creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. What are you doing about it? How do I know they're wrong? Because I started looking at credit reports in 1983, and I've looked at a lot of them, maybe thousands of them. I've seen a credit report. The highest score I've seen on a FICO, real FICO credit report for mortgage was 834, and it had errors on it. What makes you think yours is accurate? I've never seen one. I know 60 Minutes says there's 20% of them have errors. I want to see where 60 Minutes shows the 80% that are correct. Creditsanitizer.com. And hey, by the way, if you're thinking about buying that house, don't forget about our friends over at rsrmoney.com. Get that app on your phone today. Continue our conversation. We are chatting with our friends over here at the Apartment Association of Orange County. David and Chip are in. We're chatting about government. Rent control. Government. The government's here to help. Those famous words that Ronald Reagan warned us about. So you're saying that there's a lawsuit now on this too? Tell us a little bit about loss. Who they file? Who's you got to have standing.
So there's two different types of lawsuits that can go on something like this.
Okay.
And this is actually the first time in the history of this organization that we've sued a city. Because every other time we've had an issue or a disagreement, we've been able to come to the table and work it out. We tried that repeatedly through 2020, 2021, 2022. And
well, nobody could go to a table in 21 and 22. That was all COVID. You had to stay home.
A Zoom table. How's that?
Gotcha.
And we came to the decision that what we needed to do here, if they're not going to listen, is we are going to have to file suit. And you're right. If there's damages, you have to have standing. But if there's a problem with the law, anybody can bring that forward.
Okay.
And within the statute of limitations, which I think was 18 months from, no, it was 3 months from the final implementation.
Yes.
3 months from the final implementation, which was in November of 22, we could file suit. So we contacted our good friends at Rattan and Tucker, who are a phenomenal law firm, Orange County based history
In Santa Ana.
in Santa Ana.
With firsthand knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, Mr. Rattan was actually one of the big families way back when in forming
The city.
the city. Yeah. So this is a long-standing law firm that actually has an expertise and is one up in Los Angeles County against rent control, rent registries, and these kinds of things in some of the lawsuits up there. So we went to them and said, you guys are the experts in this. This is your city. This is our county. Let's fix this.
They're experts in public policy.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
that's the whole issue right
Yeah,
there.
I mean they have a proven track record when it comes to especially complaints about rent control and other as you say government intervention. They've been able to be find success in other areas where maybe firms in the past have not, and it was a no-brainer for us.
And
Yeah.
through cooperating with them and kind of going through the story of what we experienced here, where there were Brown Act violations, which for those of you that don't know, a government entity, a majority of people cannot meet without noticing the public so that they can't come up with deals in private.
Backroom deals. With
Exactly.
The smoke-filled back room.
That's exactly what it's intended to stop. There were conflicts of interest. The city mayor at the time was a property owner who exempted his properties out of the rent control law.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, single family rentals versus a multifamily rental, and he's an owner of single family properties in the city of Santa Ana. Those were not included in this rent control ordinance.
And interestingly enough, he didn't choose to limit his rent increases to the same standard by which he put on everybody else. When it came time to raise rents, he went straight for what he could. And it's kind of a fun
Gotta
little
love
situation.
that, right?
Right. What's the old saying? It's rules for thee, but not for me.
Yeah, exactly.
So
we won't talk about that at the French Laundry for dinner with the mayor, with the governor, will we?
No, never,
Okay,
never.
We won't talk about that.
But it was a perfect example of them not even listening to what they believed was the best policy. But then beyond that, you take a look at the things like the way the rent control board would be structured, which has a majority of renters set to it versus property owners.
Yeah, basically, you'd have 3 tenants serving on the 7-member board. You'd have 2 rental housing providers, and then you'd have 2 additional at-large members who would have no financial interest as a residential rental property operator or owner in the city. That's all good and fine, but typically you're going to find those people are not going to have a dog in that fight. They're probably going to side with whoever's complaining that the rent's too high, and therefore
or who appointed them.
And that's the thing.
Or who's voting for who appointed them.
Yeah, and each council member would have one appointment to make to this rent board, and given the the composition of the council ideologically right now, they're not going to be favorable to rental property owners and operators.
So you've already
we don't really want to. I'm not as concerned about which side they're. If you're favorable to one side or favorable to the other, the fact is it's going to hurt both sides.
Well, you actually
and no one's educating that.
You should be concerned about that because that is not due process. You're supposed to have a fair hearing, and if you structurally set something up biased one side or the other, there's not going to be a lot of confidence that your system's gone through. So we see that as a major problem. They also, like I said, made property ownership a qualification to serve on a public board. What other board can you think of where you have to own property in order to serve the public good? That is completely antithetical to everything we believe in democracy. We believe that one person, one voice, not one person who has property, one voice, or one person who doesn't have property, one voice.
Sure. Which doesn't make any, again, it doesn't make a lot of sense because, what, isn't that called segregation?
There was a time,
right? I mean, if you're not going to allow the people that renters on there, or if you're not allowing homeowners or investors on there, You know, that's segregation. We want to have it where everybody's got an equal say. That's where our country's supposed to be found on.
Yeah, and this rent board has no balance. I mean, that's that. End of the day, you know, you can't have a fair shot at having your situation, you know, determined if you have it stacked against you one way or the other.
When is this going to be heard? Do we know?
We don't know that. We filed in February. We filed on February 14th. It was our little
Valentine's gift to the city.
Yes,
nice.
That was actually unintentional, but it's a fun little story now. But yeah, so we filed then. We're looking at possibly having to amend some of our filings because some of the things we have found since that we mentioned here, things like being conflict of interest and problems like that came up since there. We expect it'll probably be heard in the next couple months.
Yeah, probably
June was like a target time.
Yeah,
frame.
late spring, early summer is probably when we're expecting the first hearing to occur.
Well, that's good because you know, obviously you want to make sure it gets taken care of before it's implemented. But I want to we got to move on because Josh is hollering at me. We only got about a minute left. You got an event coming up.
We do. Next Thursday, March 30th, we've got our rental housing trade show and conference. It's going to be at the Orange County Fair and Events Center from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. Admission is free. So for anyone who's interested in coming down, who's in the multifamily industry or the real estate industry, you get in for free. We're going to have free seminars, free exhibition training sessions for maintenance. And we've got probably about 115 exhibitors who are looking to do business with you if you are an owner or operator of rental housing property and do other business within the real estate industry.
Or if you're just interested in learning more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how do I get more information about the apartment association?
Well, you can visit our website, www.aaoc.com. You can give us a call at 714-245-9500. And if you do visit our website and you believe that fighting rent control is important in Santa Ana, we can also have a donation online, and just look at the banner across the top of our webpage, and there's a link there you can donate online.
Great information. If you didn't get that while you're driving, don't write it while you're driving. But if you didn't get that, give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. We will share that information with you. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to Josh and Sean for engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.